This is the Blairing Out with Eric Blair show, and we're backstage here at the Hollywood Palladium with Fall Out Boy, Pete.
What's up?
And Patrick, the singer.
Hey, what's going on?
Pete, like we were talking about earlier, you are kind of the master of this Fall Out Boy band. Tell me about it. You're kind of the Steve Harris.
I guess I just kind of, I don't know, get kind of worked up and I get all these ideas and then go over to the doctor over here and he kind of puts them into practice. So kind of, I guess I would kind of create them and then he kind of executes them. So it kind of works out good, I guess.
Patrick, what would you say about that?
Yeah, I kind of just make up music around his words.
We have chemistry together.
It's one of those teams, I guess. I don't know.
What has the tour been like so far?
It's been absolutely insane. Like every night's been sold out and it's been huge. So being able to play in front of so many kids and at the same time play in front of so many new kids has been a great experience for us, definitely.
Fall Out Boy got together.
Well, it started, we were just doing we were playing in heavier bands, like metal bands, hardcore bands, and we kind of started doing Fall Out Boy on the side. And it spun into what it's become now, I guess. And it never was intended to get where it has, and it's insane that it has.
Now, I read that you guys, and is this true, you guys have played some shows at some kindergartens.
We did a couple at some kindergartens.
You did a couple.
And let me tell you, they asked the best questions of anyone I've ever met.
Those were probably the best people we've gotten to play in front of. Most excited, best questions, very funny.
When they like you, they really like you.
Oh yeah, it's very genuine.
And when they don't like you, they just don't like you.
Yeah.
They just turn around.
And it's
awesome.
cool because you can't get too full of yourself because their interest passes very quickly. You need something exciting going on or they're gone.
Actually, they'd be good to bring them in the studio when you're recording your next album. Hey, you guys like this song? No.
Absolutely, a perfect barometer.
Now, how did the deal with Uprising Records come about?
Sean was a friend of ours, and we'd known him for a while, so he was like, hey, you got all these demos, you got this band going, I'll put it out, we'll help you out, we'll help each other out, and from there it kind of got bigger, I guess.
And the major deal with Island, Fueled by Ramen.
So we had the Uprising record out, and we were kind of trying to play out more, and eventually I think sometimes bands outgrow labels, and Fueled by Ramen called us up and was like, hey, we love your band, we'd really love to work with you, and we put a record out on Fueled by Ramen, and Island and Majors have been interested for a while, and we wanted to do it the right way and do it on our own terms, and Island was the label that let us do that, and they were like, you know what, we think you're ready, and we thought we were ready, so we signed with Island from there.
Now, how long did it take for you guys to record Take This to Your Grave?
It depends on who you ask, because, I mean, we were booked for 2 weeks to do 7 songs, but then we had 5 demos that we had done over a period of maybe probably 6 months that were done on our own, and those 5 songs and the 7 songs became the record. So
it was like a really long process. A lot of fighting.
Upwards around a year.
We had no money at the time, and we recorded a lot of it without label funding. So we were sleeping on the floor of our friend's house, and we had no money to even eat. And it was a studio where they buy soda for you. So we asked if they would buy us soda, instead of that, if they would buy us peanut butter and jelly, and they did that. So it was cool to look back on it. It's funny now.
You're paying your dues, bro.
Absolutely.
That's good. Clandestine Industries.
After writing, I guess, a lot of the words for Fall Out Boy, I kind of had just a surplus of ideas and a surplus of lyrics, and I had this recurring nightmare, and so my friend who did most of my tattoos, and me wrote a book together, and then based on that, we made a bunch of merch and cool stuff, because it allows me to explore something that's a little bit darker than I could with Fall Out Boy, so it's something that I'm just doing because it's something that's interesting to me, so if people are interested in it, that's cool, and if you're not, that's cool too. It's fun for me to do.
Yeah, you actually say that you're not worried, but you're thinking about whether your crowd is going to like it, but you'd be surprised. They probably will like it just because it's you.
I hope so. I mean, our crowd's so loyal and so fanatical and so amazing that it's I think that I always get nervous anyway, and I guess hopefully people understand that that's a mark of us not, being too full of ourselves, but it is honestly genuine. We're never too sure what to expect, and people always surprise us.
Now, you guys had this killer show at Tower Records Schaumburg. Tell me about this story.
this is the story. Our kids, I think, know enough about how when we play in stores now that they know that they're not going to go absolutely totally insane. So we pack in a 400 or 500 kids into the in store, and it's really weird because it's like this eerily quiet thing. And like we had kids come up and do Fall Out Boy karaoke, and then we're like, this is our last song, and that's just when absolute mayhem just takes over. It was just a kid. I just remember seeing a kid crowd surf into the DVD section, and DVDs are just being destroyed, and they just pulled the plug, and kids finished the song. Yeah, and it's pretty amazing. It's one of those things where when you're in the center of it, you're like, oh my God, I know we got a lot of bills we're gonna have to pay, but I think that afterwards, I'm always like, man, it's so amazing. It's so crazy.
Dude, it's like those are the good memories, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, those are all the ones that stick out into the DVD section. It was crazy. Yeah, it was hilarious.
Nice. I've always dreamt about stuff like that. No,
amazing.
I used to work at this yogurt place, and I thought, it's so like compact, and people would come there and like just like, well, I want my yogurt. I want my yogurt. It's like, what if a bunch of skinheads just came in here right now and just start slam dancing in the? Would that be? I mean, I can just imagine shit like that, and you're living it.
No, that is pretty much amazing. I went to the Star Wars premiere when they re-released the movies again, and there were so many people there. We stage dived off the candy counter. It was amazing. Stuff like that and like places like that is hilarious. It's awesome.
Exactly. Hey, Pete, your hometown of Willamette, Illinois is a few miles from where John Hughes grew up. Of scenes for Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Uncle Buck, Home Alone were filmed in that area. Has that inspired you at all?
It's pretty much one of the most inspiring things. I think when you drive around and you can see all those little landmarks, and then like on top of that, like how those people are and how those movies are is really just how those suburbs are, where it's like a hyper conservative like middle or and upper class kind of like middle-aged people, and then like it just has the younger kids are just like, I think a lot of people are just bored out of their skulls, and it just makes for like mayhem and craziness and just like good bands and like good friends and like a good scene, and it's just a really great place, I think.
For both of you, what are some of your early musical influences?
Oh, I'm kind of the weirdest of the group, I'd say, in that I was into punk, but I was more into like Elvis Costello and like David Bowie and Tom Waits and just Prince, I don't know. And then, but I was into hardcore for a while, and I was kind of a fan of his band, his old band. So.
Yeah, we grew up on hardcore. We just saw King Buzzo from the Melvins outside of Amoeba, and that was awesome. So, yeah, it's mostly like heavier music for me, and then like 80s dance music, which is just, it's like so big and so gaudy, and like, but it still has this like pop sensibilities, and that's like awesome.
So now, are we talking some Duran Duran here?
Oh, absolutely. We think people were waiting in line for something to do with Duran Duran and Amoeba, actually.
Really?
We're not really sure. There's a couple Duran Duran blankets, and I don't really know.
Well, I heard that Duran Duran was going to do an in-store either yesterday or today over at the Virgin Megastore.
Maybe it was not at Amoeba. It was a Virgin Megastore, actually.
Yeah. Hey, you should check out the new album.
I just saw it, and I should have bought it.
It's pretty good. The DVD's better.
Really?
It comes with a DVD if you buy the $16.99 one. But anyways.
Nice. nice.
Rio's the best record. That's the best one.
Exactly.
Because John Taylor was kicking ass on bass there. What were some of the highlights of the Vans Warped Tour for you?
I'd say probably we did about 10 or 12 days, and we did it in a van, and one of the highlights I would say is when we played in Detroit, they put us on this stage, on the Volcom stage, and we're about 4 or 5 hours outside of Chicago. The Volcom stage is meant to hold about 300 or 400 people, and the Vans Warped Tour is like a unique experience, kind of because everybody is on the same level. Like if you're the biggest band or you're the smallest band, you may play at 12, you may play at 8 p.m. You don't complain. That's like, this is how it is, and that's, and it's cool, and that's a very respectable thing. So we went out there, we played, about 5,000 or 6,000 kids showed up, and they actually broke the stage, and it was like another one of those events, and it was very memorable, and like Warped was very cool with us about like they like were like from then on they were having us play like cool stages, and they definitely like helped us out, and that was awesome. And then like on top of that, like I think that like I remember we were sitting down and we were sitting there, and the guys from Good Charlotte were there, and then at the same time there was Tim Armstrong, and it was just like such a weird, like it's like where else would you ever like sit at a table with like that group of people, and it's not like weird at all. So
yeah, well, they say it's summer camp for most of the people I've talked to. Summer camp for rock stars.
Absolutely.
Just like he was saying, just kind of weird groups of people that you'd never see in one sitting. Like it was me and the guy from Good Charlotte and the guy from Anaflag having lunch. It's weird.
Pete, you have said in some interviews that you feel like there's a lot of bands that are going through the motions that get up there on stage and they're not real. Now, what makes Fall Out Boy different?
I think that in order to like have people react to your songs, you need to write songs that you will continually react to. And there's certain songs that we have where when we start and we hear when I hear the first notes of the song, like Tell That Mick, you just made my list of things to do today, I get goosebumps. And then when I hear people singing it back, it's the same thing. And when we get out there and we realize that we're not going to play as good as our CD. We're not going to be the hottest dudes on the stage. We maybe will not be drawing the most kids there, but what we're doing is how we honestly feel about the songs and how we honestly feel about the music. And everything we do on that stage is who we are. And when we get off the stage, we're the same people as when we are on the stage. So I think a lot of bands don't really have that. There are bands that do, and the real question and the real thing underlying there is that kids need to be able to smell out the fakes and be able to figure those bands out.
There's not going to be a lot of longevity with those bands.
No, I don't think so at all. It's kind of a flash in the pan. Just get in and get out and try to make money or
It's like you were saying in the article. It's kind of hip and trendy to be this sound right now, and there's certain people that really have it. I mean, that's why you're here today. Why we're interviewing you, because you guys are the real deal. The Duran Duran.
Nice. I caught that.
Nice.
No, I listened to the Fall Out Boy record, and I'm telling you, man, the musicianship on here is just above the bar.
Wow.
By miles. And we were even talking about your bass tone. It's just amazing.
Thank you very much. That's we appreciate that so much that, I guess anybody could even pick up on that and the subtleties of that, and that's awesome.
Yeah, and great singing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I love great singers. I mean, you guys got the whole package, man. It's just incredible. The drummer, everybody's just kicking ass.
Thank you very much.
Now, tell me about the inspiration for the song. It's not a side effect of the cocaine. I'm thinking it must be love.
Well, I guess the song itself. Sometimes I guess when you're going through your life and just going through your daily life in general, there's I put the world in two categories. There's headaches and there's the things that relieve those headaches. And people can kind of be categorized the same way. There's people that I see on a daily basis and all they do is give me headaches. And all they do is just make me feel like my head is going to explode. And then there's like, the one or two people that like can change that. And the one or two people that like when you see them, it's just like this like amazing feeling. And like that's what that song means to me. Like the somebody that can make you stop with all the lies and the one person that you can be completely naked and honest in front of and not worry about impressing. And then like the title, we kind of grabbed from a Bowie song.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite Bowie songs. It's in Station to Station.
I have that album.
Yeah.
That is one of my favorite Bowie albums too.
Like when the song picks up towards the end, that's one of the lines.
Yeah, that's
and he gets crazy.
It's just such an amazing line. It's like, and and at the time Bowie was probably living that line, and that's what's so cool about it. Yeah.
He was. John Lennon and Paul McCartney would like come over to his at different times. John Lennon, and he would have a big bowl of cocaine on the table, and they would go over to his house and all snort the cocaine.
Evidently living off cocaine and milk.
Yes. Bowie, that's amazing. A man who's reinvented himself so many times, you can't deny it.
And let's face it, it's amazing with all the drug use that he's still alive, that he actually came through it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And like, is it at all you can like talk to him and understand him? You know what I'm saying? Because there's plenty of people out there and plenty of guys in rock bands where it's like
Ozzy.
Oh, exactly.
Sharon.
Exactly.
Now tell me about the inspiration for the song Pros and Cons of Breathing.
That was at a time when the funny thing is we all lived in an apartment together. I had a room and then Joe and Patrick had rooms right by me, and I remember going out on we had this like little deck behind us, and we had the most amazing apartment for like not a lot of money for some reason, and I went out on the deck and I remember just looking at the city and realizing like kind of that how much you could hate yourself rather than hating that person, like that's making you feel that way, and that you just dig into yourself. And I remember just realizing like and wishing like that nobody could see me, and wishing that I could just wake up in a different place where nobody would even know my name, and like just feeling completely invisible, I guess, at the time. And like that song was just like really cathartic. We haven't really played it a lot live, but that's like honestly for me one of the most cathartic songs on the record, like where those lyrics just like hold such a place, and every time I even hear the song now, I just still remember the exact place that it kind of came from.
It's almost like Shakespeare, like to be or not to be.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, totally. It's kind of, yeah.
So you were at a very low point in your life then.
Definitely. It's the documentation of rock bottom, I think.
The songwriting process, how did the songs come together?
Well, that record was us learning how to do it. So that song in particular was one of the first collaborations. A lot of the other songs, well, we were learning how to collaborate, because up until that I was writing a lot of the songs are just, I wrote the lyrics too, I just wrote everything, and then that wasn't working out so hot, because I wouldn't really finish thoughts and stuff, and then...
So on this record we kind of would do, it would be like off and on, me and him, and it was a very tense thing, and I think that the cool thing about this record also is it's like a snapshot of like the tension there kind of, and it's cool because it's captured. And since then we've kind of figured out how to like work with each other, where Patrick will get a like notebook full of songs and he'll kind of go and pick through them and see like what lines stick out to him, and like and writes the music based on that, and then kind of come to me and be like, is this cool? And I'll be like, yeah or no. But usually yeah, and then we go and take it to the band. A little hit factory right here. I just turned the on button on. I mean, if I could marry a dude and not have sex with him at all and not have it be a sexual thing, it'd be him, because honestly I've never had like a creative relationship like that, and I'm sure like, I mean, you know, we've been playing music for like I've been playing music for like 10, 12 years, and I don't think I will, you know. I mean, maybe, but you know.
Yeah, likewise, because he's a good provider.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You are married to him.
Yeah.
Because when you're in a band, you're married to those other people, whether you like it or not.
This is true.
Yes.
I think people don't understand that, but it is true.
How did it feel when you found out you were going to have an MTV You Hear It First special done about you guys?
It was like an absolute shock, I think. At the time, like that was the first little bit of press we'd even gotten on TV, and for it to be MTV was like so astounding. And I think that a lot of people kind of figure with our band that like we've gotten really used to having this being said about us or being seen here or whatever, but everything comes as a shock and a surprise. Like every time we feel like we're going to be seen through, or that we feel like we're going to be overlooked, and so when we're not, it's an amazing thing for us. And I guess having our expectations low but keeping our hopes high is kind of
that's how you please yourself.
Going. Yeah, it's really like, you know, when you get the littlest thing, then it's just like such an amazing thing. Like when kids sing along, it's just so crazy, because every night we go into it and I'm like, they're gonna hate us, they're gonna hate us, they're gonna hate us, and then we like come out and like people are stoked, even if they're a little bit stoked. Yeah. It's amazing.
You guys received some kind of award from MTV today.
Yes.
What is that? What's the Woody?
It's, I guess, MTVU, the one you can see in universities, has an award that they give out, and it's made out of all wood, and it's kind of supposed to be based only on fan reaction and not on record sales, or, you know, who's got the most money or what your record label is or how you look. And that was a really cool thing. And then on top of that, we got it for the most streamed band. So it's like, it's officially just like the fanatical fans, the people who have always supported Fall Out Boy, who go there and just download it and sit up all night and download it, who made that happen. So that's awesome.
That is cool. And then you guys went on tour with Blink-182 not too long ago. What did you learn from that experience?
I learned that Blink-182 has probably the most awesome life that anybody on the planet Earth has.
Really?
Yeah, dude. This is the thing. You're in like the coolest band, and like you have the world in your hand. But I mean, like honestly, what we learned is like going out with a band like that and going out with a band like Taking Back Sunday, like all you can learn is like professionalism, and all you can learn is like taking notes on like how those bands act and like how they keep treating people, and they're so nice and they're so supportive of bands like our size. And the only thing that teaches you is that if you ever get to that level or anywhere near that level, is that you should behave the same way. And like I can't say enough good things about Blink-182 or the way they've helped bands like us, and they've done it like countlessly, you know.
Now, what was Sean O'Keefe's angle on producing your album, and what was it like recording in Butch Vig's studio in Madison, Wisconsin?
Well, Butch wasn't really around for most of it, but the studio was kind of intimidating. We were a very new band. That was the first time we'd ever really been in a studio. Sean was kind of a new producer at the time too, so it was kind of just like a bunch of kids running them crazy in like a toy store. It was awesome. Yeah. We just got to do whatever we wanted, kind of.
Oh, when you walked in and you just saw all these platinum records on the wall.
There's something like 12 million records sold by Nirvana. Not diamond, not even platinum. That's what's so crazy. Like, you walk in there and we just stared at that thing. I remember being like, it's like the records you grew up listening to, and this guy produced them. Yeah. You know, it's crazy.
A new music video for Grand Theft Autumn / Where Is Your Boy? Tell me who came up with the concept and what inspired that.
I guess me and Patrick kind of came up with the concept together, and we wanted to do like kind of like a more stalkerish vibe Unfortunately, we crashed our van in the woods on the way to film it the first time. So
Nice.
so we kind of had to go back and do it in Michigan and kind of do it on the cheap. And what came out was the video that we had, and like we played in the snow, and that is actually the snow, and we were actually freezing. And the people that were there did it for like very inexpensively or free. So it was a good time, a good experience.
It's Fall Out Boy taking it to the limit again, right?
Trying to. Playing in sub-zero weather, definitely.
You know what? Sometimes like shortcomings bring out the best in you, man, because you have to overcome. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've known that continually with Fall Out Boy. Like we toured in a van that didn't have heat, and then it didn't have air conditioning, and in the end, those are the best stories, and those are like who made us like the tightest knit group of people that of a lot of bands that I've seen, I guess.
Now, what is your mission statement?
Fall Out Boy, I think that at the end, when you walk away from a Fall Out Boy show, is I want you to know that this is the most sincere moment that we're having as a band, and that when you come to our show, it's an individual show, and it's different from the last show that we had, and that I think that when we get off the stage, you should understand that, and you should take the lyrics to mean what you want it to be, take the music to mean what you want it to be, and we want to, I mean, at the end of the day, before we're musicians, we're fans of music, and I think that there's a lot of garbage out there. And in the past couple of years, that's been, building and building, and I think bands like, Taking Back Sunday or Newfound Glory, and then hopefully even Fall Out Boy will be allowed to come to the forefront of that and kind of show people that there is an alternative, and you don't have to get out there and, just have this like big glitzy thing to make it good. I think that you can have something honest and it can still be good.
What does the term straight edge mean personally to you?
To me, it's not drinking and not doing drugs. It's a choice that I made for myself. When I was younger, I did a lot of drinking, and there's some drinking in my family, and at the time when I was growing up with my friends, we were all into death metal and we were all into punk rock, and were getting like really trashed all the time, and I was too. And then I remember at the time, the most punk rock thing I could do was just be like, "Fuck you, I'm not doing drugs," and that was. It had become so saturated, and that's what I did, and that's like the decision I make for me. And my friends don't necessarily do that, and that's cool. Like most of the bands we go out with are like party really hard, and I think we do kind of have a good time and kind of go a little bit crazy, but it's in our own way, and that's the decision that we've made, I guess.
Yeah, I guess I would call that healthy anarchy.
Exactly. Exactly. That's a good term for it, actually.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So now, what's next for Fall Out Boy?
Album. We're working on a new album.
In LA, we're gonna be hanging out in LA with all you people. Are we being seen in LA right now?
Eventually.
Okay. Well, we'll be hanging out in LA, so maybe you could see us around, or we'll be hanging out with Blair. We'll be everywhere around here. We'll be recording with Neil Avron, who just did the Newfound Glory. He did Everclear, and then after that, we'll be on tour forever. So we'll be back soon.
Yeah, just don't. If you work with the guy from Everclear, just don't do this. Dun 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 dun. Hey, dun 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 dun. Yeah, I don't want to hear any of that in your music. Okay.
Exactly.
Keep it real.
Yeah, it will always be Fall Out Boy. You know that.
You got it. Pete, Patrick, thank you for being on the Blairing Out with Eric Blair show. You guys rock. Right, this is the Blairing Out with Eric Blair show with Fall Out Boy signing off. Bye bye.
The Blairing Out Show.